Summer, 216 BCE, southern Italy burns. The air is dry, the land is cracked, and Apulia's wheat fields, golden, endless, have become the fuel of a war that refuses to end. A small place on that plain has a name, Cannae, and at Cannae, two forces are about to collide. Rome, the empire that believes it cannot lose. Hannibal Barca, the man Rome has learned to fear. 2 years earlier, he crossed the Alps, a move so insane Rome laughed at it, until the laughter stopped. Trebia, Rome bleeds. Lake Trasimene, Rome vanishes. Not just defeats, humiliation, because Rome fights like a machine. Discipline, pressure, grind the enemy down. But Hannibal? Hannibal fights like a predator. He lures, he traps, he cuts off escape, and he turns strength into panic. After Trasimene, Rome tries patience. They put their faith in one man, Fabius Maximus, the delayer. No big battles, only fire, raids, starvation, slow strangulation. It works. But Rome hates it. They call him a coward. They call him a traitor to glory. Because in Rome, being right isn't enough. You have to look brave. So in 216 BCE, Rome returns to its instinct. One massive battle, one final strike. 2 consuls rise. Paulus, calm, careful, experienced. Varro, furious, impatient, hungry for revenge. They alternate command. One day restraint, the next day recklessness. And Rome gathers an army so large it feels unstoppable. 8 legions, 70,000, 80,000 infantry, 6,000 cavalry, a wall of men, a moving city, a weapon. Their plan is simple. Hit Hannibal's center, crush him, end it. They think Hannibal will fight like everyone else. Hold the line, take the blow, collapse. But Hannibal isn't playing their game. He has fewer men, but he has what Rome doesn't. Speed, cavalry, and a mind that reads battlefields like music. He knows the Roman weakness. They love to push forward as one solid block. Tight, heavy, relentless. They believe nothing can break through it. And Hannibal makes one choice. Then I will let them break through. He chooses Cannae for a reason. A flat, open plain, perfect for cavalry. Dust and wind in Roman faces. The Aufidus River close enough to trap movement. If the Romans get surrounded here, they won't die because they're weak. They'll die because they can't breathe. That night, the Roman camp glows with firelight. Soldiers sharpen blades, adjust armor, laugh about tomorrow. Victory feels guaranteed because there are too many to lose. Across the field, Hannibal walks among his men, quiet, controlled, like a hunter checking traps. He doesn't ask his soldiers to believe they're stronger. He asks only one thing: hold the timing, because his plan isn't about brute force. It's about controlling the enemy's movement. Morning comes. Rome forms deep in the center, a giant wedge meant to punch through. Hannibal forms something strange. His center curves forward, Gauls and Iberians standing like bait, and behind that bait, African infantry, elite, patient, hidden blades. Then the drums hit. The ground trembles. A sea of Roman soldiers surges forward, and Rome believes this is victory. But Hannibal stands still, eyes cold, not watching a battle, watching a slaughter by design. As the 2 formations close in, Rome charges like a raging bull. Their infantry, packed tight, unnaturally deep, has one goal: punch through Hannibal's center. Varro believes if he breaks the enemy's heart, the rest will collapse. Even Paulus, the cautious one, gets pulled into the logic of that massive human machine. Once the wheel starts turning, it doesn't stop. The first impact hits like lightning. Hannibal's center, Gauls and Iberians, takes the full blow. And just as Rome expects, they start to fall back. Roman cheers erupt. They think Hannibal is breaking. They don't know retreat is part of the score Hannibal wrote in advance. The Carthaginian center doesn't flee in panic. It retreats with control, step by step, step by step. The outward curve becomes an inward bend. A bulge turns into a hollow, and Rome pushes harder, deeper, further. The Roman mass drives straight into a mouth that is opening to swallow it. And because their formation is so deep, the soldiers in the back can't see the battle at all. Only the backs of their own men. They know only one command: forward. On both sides, Hannibal's African infantry stands unmoving, silent as stone, disciplined, well-equipped, and most importantly, not caught in the chaos of the center. They're waiting for the exact moment to turn inward and cut the enemy's flanks. While the infantry plays bait, Hannibal strikes where Rome isn't looking. Cavalry. On Hannibal's left flank, Carthaginian heavy cavalry slams into Rome's horsemen and overwhelms them instantly. The Romans have fewer cavalry, slower cavalry, less flexible cavalry. The clash is fast, brutal. No long duel, only a brutal difference in skill. Rome's cavalry breaks, then collapses. The survivors run or get hunted down, and when the Roman left wing falls, Hannibal gains something priceless: an open door straight into Rome's rear. On the other side, Hannibal's Numidian cavalry doesn't need to win immediately. They only need to disrupt. Stretch the line. Keep Rome's allied cavalry busy. They fight like hornets. Strike and vanish, shoot and retreat, pull the enemy into chaos. Rome is trapped in a terrible imbalance. One cavalry wing is destroyed, the other is pinned down, and then the moment Hannibal has been waiting for arrives. The Carthaginian center has fallen back far enough. The Roman army, still pushing, still confident, has been squeezed into a tight space. They think they are crushing Hannibal, but they are actually crushing themselves into a funnel. That's when Hannibal gives the order. The African infantry turns inward. This is the genius. They don't rush like a mob, they pivot, like doors closing. And because Rome has poured everything forward, their flanks are exposed. Exactly what the African infantry wants: a soft edge to slice. As the two wings swing shut, Romans in the middle start dying without understanding why. They're hit from both sides. The men in the rear keep pushing forward. The men in front are forced back. The huge Roman army begins turning into something else entirely, a giant block of flesh being squeezed. And then the cavalry returns. After crushing Rome's cavalry on the left, Hannibal's horsemen don't waste time chasing survivors. They swing behind the Roman line. They link up with the Numidians, and in a single brutal stretch of time, every Roman cavalry unit disappears from the battlefield. Hannibal does what few ancient commanders ever achieve. He takes complete control of the space behind the enemy. Now Rome isn't just being attacked from both sides. They're being sealed from the rear. The double envelopment is no longer theory. It becomes reality. A closing circle of steel, where every Roman sees a blade. At Cannae, the cruelty isn't just killing. It's killing tens of thousands, inside a space so tight they cannot run, cannot turn, cannot breathe. The crowd becomes its own worst enemy. When you stand inside a formation that dense, you don't die because of the sword in front of you. You die because the man behind you pushes you into it. Hannibal has done the impossible. He turns Rome's greatest advantage, numbers, into the reason they die. And the battle isn't over yet. Because the worst moment at Cannae isn't when the trap closes. It's when the trapped finally understand. There is no way out. As the circle closes, Cannae becomes something history rarely sees: a slaughterhouse. The Romans are still many. They still have strength. But strength means nothing when an army becomes a locked crowd. No formation, no tactics, only raw instinct. Survive or die in a space so tight you can't even raise your arm to swing a sword. In most ancient battles, the killing happens when one side breaks and runs. Cannae is different. Here, the killing happens while they're still standing. They don't get to run, and when men can't run, they only have one choice: die where they stand. Hannibal's African infantry becomes a machine blade, never tired, never slowing. Stab, pull back, step forward, stab again. Carthaginian and Numidian cavalry sweep the outer ring, cutting down anyone who tries to break out. The Romans are packed so tightly some can't even fall. The dead stay upright, pressed against the living. It's not just destruction of bodies, it's the destruction of dignity. At the center, Roman commanders realize they cannot win, but realizing is not escaping. Paulus, the cautious one, wounded. Stories say he refuses to flee. He stays with his men, because in Roman nobility, honor matters more than life. But Cannae doesn't care about honor. Cannae cares about geometry. Varro, the hot-blooded one, is among the few who escapes. He can't change what's already been done. The decision to drive straight and deep has turned Rome into a massive piece of prey. In a command system that rotates guilt, the consequences don't rotate. They are absolute. As the sun rises higher, the Romans inside the ring begin to understand the truth. No one is coming. No cavalry to open a path. No reinforcements. No space. Only Hannibal's iron circle tightening, slowly, steadily. Some attempt a breakthrough, throwing themselves at one point of the trap. But a breakthrough requires coordination and room. They have neither. Some drop to their knees and beg. But in ancient war, mercy in the middle of a massacre is meaningless. There is no time to take prisoners when you're killing thousands. And Hannibal doesn't just want to win. He wants the psychological shock. He wants Rome to see it, to feel it, to believe it. We can kill you to the last man. By afternoon, the battlefield is no longer a battlefield. It's a field of corpses. Estimates vary. 50,000, 70,000 Romans dead. Different sources, same verdict. One of the bloodiest days Rome ever lived through. Tens of thousands of families lose sons in a single day. Officers wiped out, senators dead. If Rome is a body, Cannae is a blade through the heart. The news returns to Rome like a plague. They read the lists of the dead, and the city goes silent, like a morgue. Mothers slam their heads against walls. Wives wait at the gates until hope becomes humiliation. Noble families lose both sons in one afternoon. For the first time, Rome meets a primal fear. Rome might die. And yet the strangest part of Cannae isn't that Hannibal wins. It's that Hannibal doesn't finish Rome afterward. He doesn't march straight on the city. Why? The reasons are still argued. No siege engines, not enough men, not enough allies. Or maybe Hannibal believed Rome would collapse, politically, psychologically, without a direct assault. Maybe in another world, he would have been right. But Rome doesn't collapse. Rome does something unimaginable. Rome refuses to surrender. They draft slaves, criminals, old men. They rebuild legions from the ashes. They change tactics. They return to Fabius's way. The slow war, the war of exhaustion. And then they move the fight. Spain, then Africa. forcing Hannibal to return home. Cannae is Hannibal's perfect tactical victory, but not the final strategic victory. Still, Cannae becomes legend. The double envelopment is studied for thousands of years, from ancient battlefields to modern war rooms. Generals dream of a Cannae. One battle, total destruction. But Cannae also leaves a warning. No matter how complete the victory, you do not win the war if your enemy has one thing you cannot kill: the will to survive. On the fields of Cannae, Rome dies in masses, but Rome learns something else. If they want to live, they must change. And that is why, even though Hannibal wins at Cannae, Rome wins the war.